things theology, all things theology. We chop it up properly, without an apology. Gotta give doxology to God hollow, because this is how we do it at All Things Theology.
Yo, grace and peace, guys. Welcome back to an episode of All Things Theology, where I'm your host, Kdub, and today I want to talk about detransitioning. But before we do that, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not, and as always, click that notification bell so you can be ready when I drop content. Yes, I want to talk about detransitioning. I recently dropped a story on my Twitter that went crazy viral. Was not expecting this at all. Like, as you can see, over 1 million views, so many retweets, shares, so many people. And what I was really stunned by was the amount of people that were against it. You know, I know a lot of times we see the craziness and we can think that the world is just all supporting, you know, this detrans stuff and kids being mutilated, all that kind of things. But there was an amount of support that made me say, hey, maybe people want to be made aware and highlight some of these stories. So I want to highlight one of those stories today with a female by the name of Joey Maiza. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Joey detransitioned and now looks totally like a male and highlighted some of her struggles. Let's hear some of those.
It makes me so angry. And what we're gonna get is a generation that's screwed up. That are screwed up in like 10, 15 years. Wait, not even. I think it's accelerating quite quickly. When we get 30, 40-year-olds that are going to be like, what the fuck did I do when I was 16 or whatever, like, and you can't go back. You can't go back. I'm sad for myself, of course. Not in a victim kind of way, but in like, I need to, this process of mourning who I was is touch and go. So, but I'm sad for humanity and the children and what's gonna happen when they're screwed up. We're gonna see what's gonna happen, and I really, really hope that all these professionals get their friggin' karma, because I know that some of them don't realize and some of them might be brainwashed and whatever, but some of them know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. Cash cowing.
Now, if you have a heart and you watch that, you can just be extremely sad for her. Like I said, I know it may be confusing because she looks completely like a male, but she is mourning the decision that she made. Here's the reality, guys. You know, from a Christian perspective, we're all broken. We're sexually broken. We're messed up. But the solution is not to go to what the world is offering, right? Mutilating your body as a quick fix, because, man, there's studies that are coming out that it creates, suicide, depression. Maybe I'll do a video on that particularly, but there's so much that, you know, the doctors are ignoring because, right, they're making money and things like that. But man, I watched this video of her and I was completely moved. I would love to talk with her, maybe even interview her, but ultimately to share the gospel that, man, we're all broken. We all need the solution, the remedy, and right, that's God, that's Jesus Christ himself. But, you know, I watched another video that just, wow, check it out.
My dysphoria got worse. And I believe, now that I'm reflecting on it 8 years later, is because playing this role, the role of a man, is exhausting, because I'm not a man. I'm a female. So, playing the role of a man is exhausting. I don't know how to be a man. I don't know how to act as a man. I was not born as a man. So, you know, there's some things that just come with the territory of being a man. Is this it? Is this it? And yes, it is. Parts of it. It's extremely exhausting to have to pretend to be a man all the time. Always being conscious of the fact that I need to act a certain way. I need to portray this role. It's like I'm in a movie. I've been in a movie for the last 8 years. I'm trying to play this friggin' role that's exhausting because it's not me, right? And now, when I don't play this role, the dysphoria hits me extremely hard. Why? Or body dysmorphia. Why? Because I look mostly like a man, but I'm not one.
Wow, just so true, right? It just reminds me of what the Bible says, that God created them male and female. And that's right. She could never fulfill the role of how to be a male, to take on the role to be a male, act like a male, right? She goes on to talk about, she found herself conscientiously even trying to stand, talk like a male, right? um, do male things. And it was exhausting for her, right? And it would be like me trying to be a female. I don't know how to do all these things. I am not feminine like that. Like, I see the difference between me and my wife, and total difference. And I can never be that way. And it would be exhausting for men trying to go act like females. And you see when men do that, you're like, man, you're just trying too hard. And she talks about how that was true for her. And it was totally exhausting on her body, on her mental state. And it's just like, wow, man, the image of God just leaking out, right? The gender roles that God designed for people to be. But ultimately, I found this realm of detransitioners that were expressing the same thing, going from regret, from losing male body parts, from female body parts. They're like, I made the most terrible decision because I was broken and I was in a vulnerable state. And it's like, wow, man, if that doesn't speak to you, break your heart, man. I don't know. Um, but it really moved me in such a way to where I wanted to reach out and I want to highlight some stories like this. Maybe I'll do some series where if I see something, I'll highlight it and give them a platform and voice to speak out on what's being done to them. In some sense, they are being victimized because it is true maybe what they're feeling. They're feeling the brokenness of, especially, when you're young, of not knowing who you are as a male or female. Everybody has felt that, right? We're all lost in that sense, and they are taken captive and made victims because they feel like this way, right? Like a young girl, 12 years old, she's tomboyish, right? And the doctors are telling him, "Oh, it's because you're really a boy." Well, most girls that I knew growing up were tomboyish. They were not extremely feminine at 12. That's not the age where femininity is starting to oozing out of you, right? And so they're made captives, and this um, moment of confusion and lostness at this young age, one decision literally ruins them. And like I said, I do want to do more videos. Let me know in the comments if you would like to hear more stories about this. If Joy, you would like to come on, this is a personal invitation to come on. And I would just like to hear your story, hear where you're at, and just show the love of God to you. And so, but man, it's wrong what's being done. It's wrong. And there are people younger to where they even have no choice. They're 5 years old being uh, fed all these chemical, medicine into their bodies and being I mean it's just terrible what I've found out since this video. And so hopefully I want to highlight that. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, guys. Till the next time, y'all, grace and peace.